So hey guys, welcome to another video, and today I want to talk a little bit about Elder Scrolls Online. Now, first of all, my apologies for this video only being available in 30 frames per second, but I want to talk about Cyrodiil, which is what you're looking at right now, which is the PvP portion of Elder Scrolls Online. And the coolest battles in Cyrodiil involve an enormous amount of players, and I can barely sustain 30 FPS while I'm recording, so there is no way I can get this video out in 60 frames per second, unfortunately. Now, there are multiple reasons why I wanted to make this video. The most obvious one is that I didn't cover Cyrodiil in the previous video that I did, which was titled something like, "Let's talk about Elder Scrolls Online." Yeah, don't judge me, I'm just bad at titles, alright? But also, this footage has been sitting on my hard drive for about 2 weeks, and the files are enormous because this was a very long battle, and I didn't want to delete it because it was very cool. These battles are why I love Cyrodiil. It makes me feel like a lone soldier in a war, right? There is this army around me clashing into another army, and I'm this lone soldier trying to do something, which helps, but it doesn't make that big of a difference. You're somewhat insignificant in Cyrodiil. It's nice that you're there and you're definitely helping, you know, unless you're just standing there AFK hoovering up alliance points. But your alliance isn't going to lose a keep or not capture a keep if you just decide to leave in the middle of a battle. I prefer Cyrodiil to something like World vs. World in Guild Wars 2. I did a lot of World vs. World in Guild Wars 2 on my Necromancer, and I've enjoyed it, but as soon as Elder Scrolls came out and I started doing Cyrodiil, I was like, yeah, this is more my kind of thing. And I haven't done basically any World vs. World in quite some time, and this may be partially due to the fact that I kind of lost interest in Guild Wars 2 once I finished the entire world. Cyrodiil just wins when I compare it to something like World vs. World, because first of all, I like playing healers and supportive characters, so I'm at the back of the army just healing my arse off, trying to keep everyone alive, because, you know, that's how you win battles most of the time, and I can't do that in Guild Wars 2. And I also enjoy defending things far more than assaulting things. I can easily stay in a keep for hours and constantly defend it from waves and waves of enemies. I just enjoy that more than running around and capturing keeps. I think it may have to do with the setup I'm running, because my character is designed to dish out a ton of healing. It's not designed to survive on its own, so if we're somewhere out there assaulting things, I am a primary target for gankers. And you know, when you spend like 2 to 5 minutes running to a battle just to get ganked right before you reach the battle so that you can do it again and again and again, gets somewhat irritating after a while. So instead of being grumpy and complaining about people farming alliance points, in a very good way, by the way, ganking is a really good way of farming alliance points, I was just like, you know what, sod this, I enjoy defending far more anyway, so I'm just gonna defend things. So the most of my time in Cyrodiil is spent defending keeps, because that's just more fun and it works much better for my setup, and I only go out and assault other keeps if I'm in a big party where I can hide in the middle and I don't get ganked every 2 minutes. The biggest issue with Cyrodiil for me was that I had no idea what to do in Cyrodiil when I first started going into Cyrodiil, because I started playing ESO after about a year after its release, so while people were going into Cyrodiil and kind of learning how to do things, I was not there. I only joined when people already had everything figured out. And I'm not gonna lie, it was frustrating as hell, because I would go into Cyrodiil, I'll be like, yeah, let's do some PvP, then I would teleport into a keep and immediately die as soon as I left the keep, because I just had no idea how things work. I would constantly run into gankers and they would one-shot me because I had bugger all crit resistance and I didn't have enough health, and I was like, is this it? I mean, people are just running around in stealth trying to one-shot each other to get points? That doesn't seem like a lot of fun. But I kept going at it. I kept going into Cyrodiil, and as I spent more and more time in Cyrodiil, I started to learn how things work, and more importantly, how people decided to do stuff, because that's something the game can't teach you. When you first go into Cyrodiil, there is a tutorial waiting for you, and it will teach you, you know, what things are and how to capture things and how the different sieges work, but it can't teach you how people do things. That's something that at least I had to figure out on my own, because I wasn't able to find anything that would help me with this kind of stuff. I just played Cyrodiil until it all made sense. And if I were to give few tips to people that are just getting into Cyrodiil and starting to PvP, it would be, number one, if you want to run around with a Zerg and assault keeps, I would recommend you have more than 26,000 health and you have a buttload of crit resistance, because gankers will specifically target people that have low health because they can one-shot them. And as far as I know, you can get crit resistance from champion points, or if you have the impenetrable trait on gear. And it's also nice to have the defending trait on your back bar weapons, because that way, if you're just getting pelted with arrows or whatever, you can swap to the back bar and start blocking, which will mitigate a ton of damage. Some people even go as far as to run sword and shield on their back bar so they can mitigate even more damage. But please don't overdo it, because if you go full on tank, you can't do a lot of damage or healing. Number 2, siege is incredibly important, okay? It's not just good for taking out keep walls and doors, it's incredibly strong versus players as well. So use it even if you're defending a keep or you're just fighting a big group of players, because you can either use the fire version of the sieges, which will set players on fire and do a ton of damage, or use meatbag catapults, which reduce healing taken, which combos fantastically with the different fire sieges. A single fire ballista or one meatbag catapult is enough to turn a losing battle into a victory. Number 3, try not to run into gankers, okay? So if, for example, you are fighting over here and your respawn point is over here, there's going to be a buttload of gankers right around here. They're in stealth, so you can't see them, and they usually run a one-shot build, and they're basically just picking off people that died in the battle and are trying to get back on their own. Now you can either go around them, which sometimes works, but I would not recommend it because they're usually very spread out, or you can just wait at the respawn point for a few more people to respawn and run through them as a group, which is far safer. They'll only do this if you're losing and you're being pushed back by the enemy. If you're winning and you're pushing them back, then other people can easily revive you on the spot, so you don't have to run back. And I almost forgot about number 4. The majority of battles in Cyrodiil take place at the maximum range. So unless you're very comfortable and you're in a group that will back you up, try to avoid going into melee range at all costs, because in the majority of situations that will just get you killed instantly. It's very effective in an organized group where everyone just turns on AoE and pain trains through the enemy, killing all of them, but if you do that on your own, you're most likely just gonna die. And finally, number 5, always try to get into a group, because it's far better to run with a group than to just run around like a headless chicken on your own. And once you do get into a group, please listen to the group leader and also follow them around, okay? That's the best thing you can do if you don't know what's going on. Just do what the leader says, because in the majority of situations, that will lead to the best result, okay? And the leader, by the way, will be marked with a white crown. And don't worry if you don't have a group of friends to play with, because there is always plenty of public groups running around in Cyrodiil that you can join. Just keep your eye out on the chat, because sometimes people will tell you what to say if you want to get invited, or simply type LFG into the zone chat. And please, don't forget to have fun, because this is a game at the end of the day, so if you do lose a battle, it's not a big deal, okay? Just have fun. And I think I've been rambling for long enough, so I hope you have enjoyed the video at least a little bit, and hopefully some of the tips helped you as well. I thank you very much for watching as always, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.